For the longest time, creating images with AI has felt a bit like, well, like you're shouting a command into the void and just hoping for the best. But what if it was more like a conversation? Google has just taken a huge leap in that exact direction, shifting AI image generation from a single order to a creative back and forth. And believe it or not, it all starts with something they call the Nano-Banana.
So, how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this new tech? Well, the best way isn't through some super complex diagram, but with a simple, kind of fun demonstration. See, the team behind this wanted to show us, not just tell us, how different this whole experience is. It all kicks off with a photo of a person and, a pretty strange request about a banana costume.
And this is where it gets really interesting. After a couple of quick edits, the user throws a total curveball at the AI, a command that he even admits he has no idea what it means. Make it nano. Now, this wasn't some pre-programmed function or a secret technical term. It was just a weird, creative idea meant to test the AI's intelligence, not just its ability to follow orders.
And just look at how simple the whole thing was. There's no complicated prompt engineering here, no weird code words. It's just three natural conversational steps. 1, start with a photo. 2, make the absurd request to slap a banana costume on there. And 3, that final bizarre command to make it nano.
And this, right here, is what makes this a breakthrough. The model didn't just crash or spit out an error message. It actually interpreted that vague idea. It came up with this whole new adorable nano version of the character, but it kept the banana costume and the feel of the scene perfectly consistent. It understood the intent behind that weird request.
Okay, so what's the big deal about a tiny banana? Well, that little moment tells us pretty much everything. It's a signal that we're seeing a fundamental shift in how we create stuff with AI. We're moving away from that old one-shot command system and into a new era where it feels more like an ongoing dialogue with our tools.
The tech that makes all this possible is called native image generation. And what really makes it different is one word: context. The model isn't just looking at your last text prompt. No, it's seeing the entire history of your conversation, every single image and every instruction you've given it. This allows it to build and refine ideas in a continuous flow, kind of like how you'd work with a real person, right? They remember what you said 5 minutes ago.
This completely changes the user experience. The old way, you had to cram every single little detail into one massive clunky prompt and cross your fingers. The new way, it feels like a natural conversation. You can tweak things, ideate, go step by step until you get exactly what you're imagining, or maybe even something better. Here's another fantastic example. A user just asked for a 1980s mall glamour shot, but done in 5 different ways. Now, the model didn't just create 5 generic photos, it basically became a creative partner. It went ahead and invented its own distinct characters, gave them awesome names like Arcade King Logan, and designed unique outfits for each one. All of that from just one request. And this gets to the heart of it. One of the researchers, a guy named Mustafa, explains that this just opens up a whole new way of working. Instead of trying to nail a super complex image in one go, you can now break it down. Got a prompt with, 50 different edits? No problem. You can just ask the model to tackle them one by one in stages. Okay, but this brings up a huge question, right? If an AI is getting this creative, how on earth do you even measure if an image is good? I mean, it's so subjective. Teaching an AI about aesthetics is incredibly hard. But it turns out the team found a really clever workaround. The old way was to get a bunch of people in a room to rate images. But that's slow, it's expensive, and honestly, it's totally subjective. So the team found a clever shortcut, a metric that was objective and fast. How well could the model draw text? It sounds small, but this turned out to be a signal for something way bigger. And what they found was just fascinating. As the model got better at understanding the really precise structure of letters and words, it also got better at understanding the structure of, everything else in an image. Things like composition, lighting, how objects relate to each other. It's like mastering text was a backdoor to mastering images. So what we're really seeing here is 2 huge parts of AI finally coming together. This isn't just a model that can paint a pretty picture anymore, it's a model that combines 2 of the most fundamental skills: understanding the world in all its messy complexity, and then being able to generate new visions of it. This quote from Mustafa really captures why this matters so much. See, language has this thing called reporting bias. Think about it. When you tell a story, you don't describe the boring old sofa in the room. But a photo captures everything, all that unspoken, common sense knowledge about the world. By learning from images, the AI gets around this bias and builds a much, much richer picture of reality. Okay, so let's get practical. If you're a developer, when would you use this Gemini capability versus a more specialized model like Imagen? Well, it really just comes down to your goal. If you need a super high-quality image fast from a single prompt, Imagen is still your go-to tool. But if you want a creative partner for complex brainstorming and editing, that's where Gemini really shines. All right, so where does this all lead? What's the future look like? This whole conversational, context-aware approach, it isn't just a small improvement. It really points to a whole new direction for what we should even expect from AI creativity.
At the end of the day, this isn't just about making prettier, more photorealistic pictures. It's not really about visual quality at all. The real goal is to create an interaction where you, the user, feel like you're working with something genuinely intelligent, an AI that doesn't just execute commands but actually understands.
And this leads to a pretty wild idea, one that almost sounds backwards. The researchers are actually looking forward to a future where the AI is so smart that it might not follow your instructions perfectly, because it understands your real intent and can create something even better than what you asked for. Now, to bring this all back down to earth for a second, one of the product managers on the project, Nicole, shared what her ultimate dream is for this tech. And it's not about creating fantasy worlds. It's about a super practical everyday task, getting the AI to build an entire high-quality slide deck for a work presentation. And that, of course, leaves us with one last kind of meta question to think about. As you're sitting here watching this explainer with its slides and its visuals, it's worth asking, is this very thing something that a truly smart AI could create all on its own one day? The journey of the Nano-Banana suggests we might be a whole lot closer than we think.